collecting rent checks, first to the 15th. Life in starlight, count my lucky stars, I'm alright. Things are looking up, my desires are on sight. Gotta keep grinding, make sure that it lasts forever, not only one night.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back. We're back at it like bad habits. It's episode 3, and I am so excited. I don't know if you can tell, I got big teeth, and you can see every single one of them because I'm smiling ear to ear. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to meet one of my good friends, one of my mentors in the business, someone who got me involved in a strategy that I never even thought I'd be doing and has paid off tremendously. You know, this is the REI, Cola REI, famously hot real estate group, famously hot real estate market. And today we're going to be doing a huge interview with an expert in a famously hot strategy. And he's got investment ties to here in Columbia, South Carolina with us. He's a part of this group. You know, this group is about 3 things: learning, networking, and growing, right? And I think with Michael Hamilton, we're going to be doing all 3 of those here on this interview, in this spotlight, in this feature. When it comes to vacation rentals, he wrote the book on it. He's the author of Vacation Rental Confidential. This is like my vacation Bible, vacation rental Bible. So pick this up, check this out. We'll talk more about this. And he's the co-founder of a website called Live-Swell.com, a company called Live-Swell.com that focuses on Airbnb, VRBO, vacation rental bungalows that are really specialized and built around one of his passions, which is surfing and the beach. So I can't wait to get him on. I've got questions to ask. I can't wait to see what he's been up to. So let's welcome to the big show my good friend, Michael Hamilton. Mike, you there?
Awesome. Noah Harris. Thank you, man. You were saying you're smiling ear to ear. I'm smiling about as ear to ear as I can, if the audience can see me. So, thank you very much, for the kind words coming in. I mean, you guys have been an inspiration to me, and actually some of the first people that actually did some of my first deals with. So I'm sure we're gonna talk about that. But let's get into it. No, I know we only have a limited time on this call, so I know your audience is eager and has a high appetite to learn some things. So let's see what we can provide.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm excited. For those of you who don't know Michael, here's what I already know this conversation is going to be about. And whenever I've had the chance of talking real estate with Mike, we've been friends now for many years. I go 6 or 7 years, probably.
Yeah,
I would say, right, Mike? And
absolutely.
It's all about having high-level conversations with the most down-to-earth person I've ever met. And those are the types of conversations that we love to have. So, Mike, before we get into your book and everything that you've been able to do with the vacation rental space, I always want to know, like, and the group wants to know, like, hey, how did you get involved in real estate investing? Like, what did it look like when you first got started with all of this? Because, let me ask you a question. Did you think you'd be doing vacation rentals when you bought your first flip or did your first wholesale deal? Like, did you ever think you'd be where you are now?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. No, and the answer to that is absolutely not. I did not think that I'd be in the vacation rental space, and moving forward 5-10 years from now, nobody knows exactly where they're going to be. You might be in larger multi-units or hotels or things like this. I mean, the natural progression for a real estate investor is to move into higher income opportunities and things like that. And that's something that we're always striving for. The first real estate deal I ever did was actually a mobile home with your wife.
That was the first one?
The very first real estate deal that I ever did. And this is an aside. I raised money. I had finished graduate school. I had okay credit. I didn't have great credit. I had okay credit, like most people. And I raised some credit, and Chrissy had an opportunity to participate in a mobile home park, and she was taking care of renovations, stuff like that, and get things cash flowing, and that's what happened. And it was an awesome first few real estate investing opportunities. And since then, I've moved into traditional rentals, as you've mentioned, and as you guys do as well. I've done flips, so renovations and then resells, and and gotten private lending, and then ultimately my focus now is on vacation rentals, short-term rentals, specifically coastal vacation rentals. And yeah, it's definitely, you don't know exactly what your trajectory is going to be, but as long as we get started, that's the real key. We're going to get started, and then the progression is gonna move as it does, and lead us to beautiful things.
Awesome, man. Who would have thought you would go, the mobile home would lead to, the beach bungalows, overlooking the ocean and doing all that, right?
Right, of course.
So where are you right now? Where are you right now? What part of the
So
world
I'm
are you in?
actually I'm in the Outer Banks of North Carolina right now.
Okay.
I'm actually at the first bungalow we wound up buying here, the Chill Surf Bungalow. We're occupying that right now. We're fortunate to be living on two coasts at a time. We decided with aging parents and things like that to come back to the East Coast and be with family.
Yeah.
And that's one of the beautiful things about real estate and real estate investing, is that it can allow you those kind of opportunities. If you set yourself up in a certain position, you can position yourself, a little bit closer to family and stuff that's near and dear to you. You can just make more choices that you have control and lead to things that you want. So for right now in our life, I love the West Coast. I love California. Sorry, my hair. I'm looking at my hair here. It's looking a little funky. Hopefully nobody's watching this video. But
I think I got
yeah,
one. I don't know if I got one too. Like,
dude, you're looking pretty good, man. You got some stiff gel in there. So yeah, I came
yeah.
in with a little soft stuff today. So
Well, you got the natural sea salt. Like, did you
yeah,
go surfing today? Did you get in?
I did go surfing today, and we haven't had too many warm days this winter. We usually do. So
Dude,
today was a day where
how thick's the wetsuit because are you getting this storm right now? This like nasty thing that's moved.
I run a little thin because I have some cold blood from growing up in the Northeast, but I typically run with a 4 millimeter wetsuit, which for most people in the winter would be a little shocking. But
Yeah.
I mean that's one of the passions, right? It's the ability to, today we're working on a renovation, we're working on bringing a new property to market, and it's going to be our best property to date, because it's going to take into account all the learning lessons that we've had over the 5-6 years that we've been doing this. But today was such a nice day. We haven't had nice days. We said, let's jam out of this place. Let's focus on a nice day. And
Yeah.
fortunately, we were able to take advantage of that. And I know it's gonna get, like you were saying, it's gonna get cold. It's getting cold. The temperature's dropping.
So let me ask you a question. So a lot of your like crown, I guess like your I want to say crown, your flagship properties are in the Outer Banks. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I had a question. Maybe this is a good time to ask it.
Sure.
When it comes to like Airbnb and VRBO, and really, just so we're clear, if someone doesn't know what that means, like those are simply like companies and platforms, right? Airbnb, VRBO.com. And what we're talking about is vacation rentals, which can be on those platforms for people to book and list their properties for short-term rentals, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
The term in the industry is online travel agency, right? So an Airbnb or HomeAway, and HomeAway doesn't exist. It's VRBO now.
Okay.
Expedia partnership, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So they're online travel agencies, and they basically function as booking agents. They have a large marketing budget and prowess that the individual owner or the multi-unit owner might not necessarily have, and they can distribute those listings to travelers all over the world, which is a really nice thing, because it helps that individual, yourself, myself, reach a lot of people. So
Yeah.
we like the concept of leverage, and we like to use Airbnb is our preferred, but VRBO is there as well, and there may be new ones. As time goes
Yeah.
along, there might be some new ones that pop up.
I remember the first booking that we ever had, Mike. And by the way, before we get too down the road with our interview and our spotlight here, I just want to say thank you, man, because if it wasn't for you, I remember chit chatting with you, and talking about what you've been going on, what you've been doing real estate wise. And you are the one that introduced Christy and I to this technique and to the strategy.
Awesome, man.
And I'm telling you guys, if you're watching this video, it's another exit strategy that can increase cash flow. It can help you pay down the debt faster on your properties. You don't have to own 20 rental properties. They're all making $100 a month or $200 a month. If you got a handful that are really producing excellent numbers for you. So it's been a game changer for us. I remember the first booking that we ever had, Mike, was we just listed our property. We were so stoked. We followed your system and what I learned from you. And it was someone from Finland. So it was this weird ass name. And we're like, oh my God, we're about to get scammed. Who's coming to our house? And it was a travel agency over in Finland that had booked it for this person. So you couldn't, when we tried to confirm, does this person exist? It was around halfway around the world, but it was a lot of money. So we're like, oh my God, this is a $2,000 payday. Do we book it? Do we allow them to come? What's the deal? So for 24 hours, Christy and I were just freaking out about this name. And then come to find out, there was someone who went to college here and they were back visiting their parents or something like that. And it was totally legit. And then boom, we were hooked after that. But it was just funny because that first initial, oh my God, is this really happening? Is this a real thing? Right. What would you say?
It feels different for sure.
What would you say? One of the questions that we had was top markets. Why would, is there such thing as a top market for an Airbnb or VRBO? Can this work in any market? What's your thoughts on that? You've planted your roots in the Outer Banks. It's a beach destination, but what do you think when it comes to picking markets, or can someone do this in their backyard?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And, ultimately it's going to depend on a couple factors. I think what is somebody looking for, and what are their goals as an investor? So number one, for me, my lifestyle is very coastal orientated. I like to travel. I like to surf. I like the freedom to be able to move. So short-term, real estate investing in general, was an avenue to pursue that. So short-term rentals made a lot of sense too. With if you wanted to potentially occupy a space, while you're, you can only occupy one space. We have multiple spaces. But if we did want to come to a location, we could occupy a space and enjoy it the same way that a vacationer would. So I've happened to live in a lot of vacation destinations in my life. San Diego was the prior destination to this. We also had a rental there as well. We don't have it anymore, but it worked really well. So the reason why I say it depends is a lot of times the strategy that I follow, vacation rental investing, is going to work in areas that people like to travel to, right? It's natural. So it doesn't have to be a beach. It could be a mountain, right? So that's the first thing I would say is, is it something that you want to have some usage in? And then is it something that you want to rent as well to cover the cost, not only potentially break even, but even make some money? Maria and myself, we earn our full-time living now off of our real estate investment. So, that's possible. Is it, does it work for everybody? It just depends on the approach. I mean, I can't say it's going to work for every single person. I don't have a specific top market for us. Whatever market you're going to be working in, at the end of the day, and I know Noah and Christy are dialed into this, the numbers got to make sense, right? At the end of the day, whether it's a long-term rental, whether it's a short-term rental, we want to have a good look at, what's my revenue coming in and what are my expenses going out. Now, in the beginning, if you haven't had a lot of experience with that, right, you might want a little bit of help, and there's people that can help, and there's calculators and things like that are out there that can facilitate the ease of that process. So those are some things that you might want to consider and take advantage of, so you can feel more confident in, hey, look, well, maybe I'm new and I want to figure out, what can I expect in terms of revenue? What can I, expect in terms of expenses? I know a lot of your investors that you guys work with are long-term investors there are some expenses that we're going to incur as short-term rental owners that we don't incur as long-term rental owners. We're going to pay the electricity bill. We're going to have furnishing. We're going to have, the amenities there, flatware and things like that. So those are important things to be aware of. But, I'd really, really look at a couple things, either a vacation market or your own home market. Now, if your home market has something where, let's say there's an event, like you live in Augusta, Georgia, right? The Masters comes there, or you live in a college town where there's a lot of football games. I've heard of a lot of people doing really, really well. A resource that I use is called airdna.com, can give you a good idea of, if you were to rent a place in a specific market, what could you expect, in terms of possible revenues? And there's a lot of other factors that go into that, but what could you expect in terms of revenues? So
airdna.com, right, Mike?
I actually think it's airdna.co. I think they dropped the M, and I'm not sure why they dropped the M, but
Okay,
just
well,
confirm that there.
up.
Yeah.
AirDNA, it might, airdna.com or airdna.co. We can look that up.
Right.
We actually used that too when we were getting involved in Colombia, per your advice, to see what it would entail, And what's funny is I've seen posts on Facebook for, like, in our market, and some people are like, well, who's going to come to Colombia? Lots of people. We have the university, we have Fort Jackson. Sure, there's not doing like big concerts or the football games or the limited tickets and things like that, but we've been booked.
Yeah, military for sure. Big time.
Yeah, we've been booked, and people are traveling. And I can attest to that. Like, not only am I a big fan of having them, but also staying at them. So, like, last week we went to the mountains. Where did we stay? Not a hotel, right? Not with two little kids. If you have kids, if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. You're not going to get a hotel room with a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Running tight there for sure.
The first time that we went on vacation with the kids, we rented a hotel room. It was a big mistake. We're like, oh, we can figure it out. They'll be exhausted from walking all day. No, right? And we, at like 8:30, we had all the lights off, and Christy and I are in bed, like this, like we're not even looking at each other, not even talking to each other, because we want to get the kids to think we're sleeping. And it was like the worst vacation ever, right? So we don't do that anymore. We always book houses, right? Which makes sense. Now, here's what. So I would say, know your market, study the AirDNA, see what the traffic is, and see what the need is in your marketplace, and go from there. But people are traveling, and they don't want to stay in hotels, right? You don't want to stay in hotels. Now you've done something really cool with your business, in that you really branded your portfolio. Tell us a little bit about that. So, like, if someone stays at one of your properties, they're not just it's not just a house that they're renting, and it's something I'm really impressed with. And tell everybody a little bit about what you've done to, like, brand your portfolio, and really what does it mean to rent a place from Live-Swell, which is the name of your company. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, to keep things simple, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, our goal, if we do a really good job, we're in the hospitality space, we rent, houses short term. If we do a good job, our customers are happy, they're on vacation. Our goal, that Maria and Maria have come to, is we want to help them refresh from reality, right? If we can help somebody refresh from reality, they have an escape right at the beach, they have a great time, then we've done our job. And so what does branding that mean? So that's really the goal that we're going for. A brand has consistency, right? So if I go to McDonald's and I order the double cheeseburger in Outer Banks, and I go to Columbia, South Carolina, and I order the double cheeseburger in San Diego, I know what I'm going to get, right? So same exact thing. So we've developed, in having done, this is our fifth property, is a proven process. And what that proven process is essentially, how do we evaluate a property prior to acquisition to understand if it's a good deal? What renovation opportunities do we see can be good? How can we get it rental ready? How do we implement the same things, the same sort of decor, the same sort of furnishings the same style of feel that somebody has when they go into a place. That's really helping us create our brand and our consistency in delivering the experience and the value that we want to our guests. And obviously we're talking here almost a year post COVID, and one of the things that's just critically important right now is it's not even to be clean, it's to be sparkling clean.
Sure.
Everybody is so focused on, if they see a hair on a tile, I mean,
Yeah.
you need to be at the point where there's just eliminating all these sorts of things. So, all of these things coming together from, what does the place look like? What does it feel like? What is the experience that's being delivered? That's the brand. But ultimately, if you can conceptualize in your head, sitting on a hammock, swaying away, being able to walk to the beach, being able to feel youthful at the beach, that is the kind of experience that we're attempting to deliver. Does it work 100% of the time? No, you're still going to get somebody that's pissed off from time to time. And there's a lot of people right now that are carrying, unfortunately, there's a lot of pent-up demand like you're talking about. But unfortunately, there's some people, not a lot of people, there's very, very minor people that are carrying some of their anger that's just naturally been pent up with the situation, over the past year. With them while they're traveling. So, we still embrace them and love them, and, we take their feedback. That's one of the things that you could do too, is, nobody's going to be perfect. One of the best things that I think Maria and I do is, even when you get a tough guest, is listen to them, don't take it personally. And what is their feedback? Because even that feedback might be something that somebody else has not said to you, and that you can bring into the place, and then just make it that much better. And that's really how we had our first place. Started with window units, and I mean a window unit that had a piece of plywood holding it into a wall, and a pair of pliers that he needed to start the damn thing. So we've since moved beyond that, and I'm almost half embarrassed to admit that, but it's important to get started, but take the feedback and get started, and use that if that's your true desire to move into this path.
You taught me. I remember you taught us something really impactful in our business, because you're right. And with these sites, people are going to leave reviews, right? They're going to leave a review for you, and you're going to leave a review for them as a guest. And you taught me a little trick. I don't know if you remember having this conversation with me or not, but you taught me how to get ahead of a potential comment, or instead of a 5-star, maybe a 4-star. And it was just a little message in there just about, hey, if there's anything we could have done better, please let me know right away. Sure. So I can, and kind of gave them a space to share their feedback.
Yeah, communication. I mean, communication is one of the most undervalued things, and essentially what somebody's doing by implementing that. And thank you for, crediting me with that. It wasn't my idea. It was just an idea that was implemented from another application of just checking in. Hey, look, it's the day after they've checked in. It's a new place. Are they having any concerns? Is something bothering even somebody in their party? The daughter might have booked it, but they're staying with mother-in-law, and the mother-in-law is complaining, and they're hearing it from the mother-in-law. So, it's also, is anything bothering anybody that you're staying with? And try to dig that stuff out.
Yeah, you got a checklist for everything, man.
We try. They're not all there yet, but we're working on some checklists.
Sure. I got a couple questions for you. Really, I think that answered one of them. Like, how do you separate yourself from the competition? And I'm just going to share with you guys something here that's super cool. And for me, I like numbers. I know you're a numbers guy. I think I also might be a little bit like your girlfriend Maria, in the sense that I have that artistic. I like to, my mom's an artist. You know what I mean? So I like to be creative and not just numbers and things like that too. Sure. And you remind me so much of Christy. I think that's why she likes you so much. But what you've done is you've taken like your Airbnbs and really like been so creative with them, with creating, I bring this back to the brand, but like if you just look at all the little details of how you've decorated them And so I'm gonna share something with you here, and it's I just want to give you a glimpse of Mike's site, and because it's just beautiful, and I encourage you to go check it out to see, because it's one thing to post something just on VRBO or Airbnb, but to have, I'll ask you this here in a minute, but like repeat business, like how many people do you get that come back to Live-Swell property because of the experience that you've given to them? But I just think this is just phenomenal. Like, you have your own website. Can you see my screen, Mike? Is it showing? Yeah.
And yeah. Looks like you got the rum lemonade photo up there, right there.
The rum lemonade. Now, is that local? Do you take things from like your local community and implement them into your
That
places?
one right there actually is a hand picked from Cuba, but so that's not local. But yes, there actually is a
Gotcha.
local brand of rum that we work with, and they make rum balls. And one of the things that we leave some of our guests, not every guest gets this, but we
Yeah.
leave these little candies as a welcome gift. It's Kill Devil rum balls. Kill Devil is actually an early name for rum, and that's where the name Kill Devil Hills comes from. It comes from
Now, what do you got to do
pirating
to
the
get
rum.
what do you got to do to get a Kill Devil rum ball?
You gotta stay in a little bungalow.
Yeah,
That's pretty much the basic gift. That's the floor gift that somebody's gonna get staying in a bungalow. And a lot of people like them, but obviously
yeah,
at the same time too, we gotta be mindful. And somebody sees rum on a candy of gifts, and
yeah.
you stay back. So it's important to be mindful about what it is that you're providing. So you don't want to necessarily leave a bottle of wine for everybody.
Yeah.
That might not be the right gift for everybody.
True. Yeah. I mean, look at this. This is the difference. Now, look. Do you do like surfboards and stuff for people?
Yeah, and one of the fun things that you can do, especially as you're building a brand, the more units you have, the more impactful this becomes. I mean, we have wholesale relationships with a surfboard manufacturer, so we buy surfboards wholesale from them. We have other the rum balls. That's a wholesale style relationship. We have wholesale.
It's soaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
soaps as well. That's actually funny. A guest coming in from Rhode Island left some soaps one time and really liked them
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, look, can you package these as hospitality size?" And we wound up working out something with them and co-branding a soap. So
With
there's
a
a lot of
guest.
cool creative things you can do. Yeah, this was a guest that stayed, and fortunately she left some of her soaps, Pocasset Naturals, and we let
Oh,
us
that's awesome.
co-brand them. Yeah.
Cool. A couple other questions, man, and thanks again for doing this. This is great. We're loving this. How would you use, or maybe attract is the better terminology here. How would you attract more like longer term tenants?
Can you just clarify that question a little bit more so I can tailor my response? What specific, who specifically are we speaking to? Is there a specific long-term tenant we're trying to attract?
Yeah, and that's a good question. Based off of the person, I know who asked this question, and I'm friends with her, and she has a longer term tenant in the property, and so obviously less turnover, and she's enjoying having someone in the property, obviously making more money. Does less turnover, don't have to worry about that. Do you have any tricks or anything that you would that you do to entice someone to stay a little longer, or maybe come a day earlier or something like that?
So what I can say is our business model is specific to the short-term, less than 30-day stays. But as a traveler, I have been on Airbnb and looked for stays that were longer than 30 days. So I have been that longer-term tenant looking. And as an owner, we get a lot of inquiries from people that are looking for longer term stays. Unfortunately, typically with budgets and where people are at, we've just found that naturally their long-term budget isn't going to be able to compete with what we can do short term.
Gotcha.
And then also part of why we rent short term too is in the winter months like this, we can block off 3-4 weeks, implement upgrades, do things like that. Now you said I think said you took a trip away with Christy recently. Maybe I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Maria and myself last week, we actually went and stayed at one of our places that was closer to the beach just for a break from the place that we're staying at that's a little bit further away from the beach. So, there's options to do things like that as well. So I personally don't have a lot of experience renting long-term on Airbnb, but what I can say is I've shopped for long-term on Airbnb, and I think it's a good idea to not list it, to not have it as your sole marketing channel for a long-term renter.
Yeah.
And then long-term too could also mean 12 months or more, but it can also at the same time mean 1 to 3 months.
Right.
Depending on
Right.
what's there's a lot of business people right now. We're getting a lot of people right now. We've always done really well in the off season. In fact, we call our off season our higher season because a little more turnover. During our high season, we're getting week or 2 week rentals. In our off season, we're getting 3, 4, 2-night stays. So the turnover is more. But what we're finding now with COVID is there's a lot of people that are traveling for work and they're staying for a week or 2 weeks in the winter. Some of these people are going to want to stay for a month or 2 months and things like that. And it doesn't mean it's not an attractive rental. It just has to make sense financially. And for us, what's made sense financially right now is the short-term rental model, specifically where we are. We're close to the beach, so we can get some pretty higher nightly rates. But in certain areas, I would just say that you look at it, and I think it's a great marketing channel. And I even think there's a filter on a lot of these online travel agencies, whether it's Airbnb or VRBO, where you can specifically say, I do list greater than 30 days, right, which would be a long-term rental, not subject to short-term tax and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'll chime in on that question too. And this question, I believe, was to Caroline. What's interesting is, so you're very like destination type of rentals. And here in Colombia, we have some houses that's the case. Like we have a house that overlooks Finley Park, 2 blocks from La Vista, and that's a destination stay.
Yeah. So
we do short-term stuff with that. And we have some other places that are in Forest Acres or in Irmo, not really necessarily a destination spot, but what we're doing is we're leveraging those platforms and some other ones. One of them is furnishedfinder.com, and we're using that for travel nurses and corporate travelers, people that are here on business, and they're staying for that 1 month to 3 month time frame. So you're making a little bit less than you would if you were Airbnb, but there's it's locked up for a couple months, and it's what I'm finding is about 50% more in rents from if we just had a 1-year tenant in there. So
it's a significant increase.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're asking me about and you can see me still?
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. You're asking me about COVID and what I might have seen, and what I can speak to about that specifically in a destination market, like you've clarified, which I think is a really important distinction. Initially for us it was bad. There's 2 bridges that enter the Outer Banks. The local government authorities made a decision to close those bridges to only residents. So even if you were a owner of a property here, but you were a non-resident, so let's say you lived in Columbia, South Carolina, and that's where your license was from, but you had a second home in the Outer Banks, you weren't allowed to come here, which was, that was pretty significant. So if even property owners weren't come here, they weren't letting travelers in. So
wow,
that was about 2 months where we took a haircut on revenue. We did have a loss of use insurance policy, and we submitted claims on that, but unfortunately, a lot of those don't look like they're going to get paid, and that's just the natural haircut that we had to take. But fortunately, it was good because it was March and April, and then really our season starts towards the end of April, and May is when we start to really get going. But what I'll follow that up with, so it was initially bad, but following that has been a tremendous pent up demand. People want to travel. You said that in the beginning of this call, Noah.
Yeah.
There's a tremendous amount of want to travel. And then you also have the interaction too of, let's say, people that were scheduled to travel internationally aren't traveling internationally anymore. They're traveling more driving distance type scenarios. So you're having more demand right now than you've ever had. Some destinations are, not all destinations are. We are experiencing that. So our rates have significantly increased. Our real estate values have significantly increased. Are we expecting that forever? Not necessarily, but it has been a positive of the situation.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That's awesome. And one last question, and I'll let you go because I got you longer than I promised.
That's all right, dude. I had a feeling it might go that way.
Yeah. High level conversations with really down to earth people, right, Mike?
That's it.
What would you say to someone who's new, that's a beginner? I'm not sure if this person is new to real estate investing in general or just new to this business model or this exit strategy. What tips would you give to someone who's a beginner that's wants to do this?
My disclaimer is really simple. I never tell anybody what to do. I only tell them, I already share with them what it is that we do and why we do it, the logic behind it. People are going to make the decision that's going to be best for them. So this is going to sound really basic. Do whatever it is you feel is going to set you up for success. A friend of mine that Noah and I both know was from Alabama. This gentleman's name was Chad, and he shared this with me one time. And it wasn't his quote, but he said, "Look, everybody's going to suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment." Yeah. And you suffer the pain of discipline by preparing. You suffer the pain of disappointment by going through an experience and it not working out well. And I've met a lot of people that have had really bad experiences with real estate investing and put them into some uncomfortable situations. And some people it's knocked them out for a little while. So, yeah. I think it's decide, hey, look, is this a strategy that I'm, willing to take on locally, or is there a second market that I like that I'd want to consider? And then, set yourself up for success. Find results that you like, model those results, be resourceful. And, again, I would recommend suffering the pain of discipline rather than the pain of disappointment. And it's just like anything. If you want to get good at hockey, you want to get good at baseball, you want to get good at real estate investing, it's doing the things like you guys are doing. You're networking, you're in groups, you're being resourceful, you're listening to information, and you're synthesizing it and figuring out what's going to work for you at the end of the day.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really appreciate your guidance. I know this group will too, and we'll continue to seek it out. Those of you that are thinking about getting started with vacation rentals, here's what I would say. So literally last week, I was creating a checklist, a system for really starting up a new Airbnb. Right? Like what do we need to grab? Furniture to soaps to toilet paper, everything that kitchen knives, everything that someone would need to start a new unit, a new rental. And I was halfway done, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if Mike has something. So I went to your website, and you had like everything. You had everything. So here's my recommendation to you. And I'm not pitching anything, I'm not selling anything, but straight up, like if you want some really good systems and checklists, go to Mike's website. He has a resources tab. I saw one that was there for free, and I saw other ones that you have for like $10, $20, something like that. Systems. These are systems that you use in your business all the time, right, Mike?
Yeah. Again, the only thing that we have up there are systems that we use every day, right?
Yeah.
Systems that we use in our business, and as we move forward and we improve things, we're going to add that. But these are the core systems that we've used to build our business for sure.
Now, so this website, is that on? Can you see that, Mike? Live-Swell.
Seeing you and seeing me, but yeah, that's right. That's correct. Live-Swell.com.
Go check it out. Book yourself a nice stay, and he's got a lot of great resources there. And then this one was cool too. So like, if you're someone who has a rental, has an Airbnb, you feel like you could be doing better, or you should be doing better, or you want to just like maybe see if there's a way that maybe you're missing something, or you're not optimizing everything that you should be, then check this out right here, this website right here. Is that it? No, that ain't it. Is that it, Mike?
That's the vacation rental resources. I think you're looking for that vacation rental audit.
Yeah. So look for the audit on Mike's website, and have Mike take a look, right? Have him take a look and see how they can help you. Because we were having a conversation the other day how you were like, I have a client, someone who came to me and said, hey, look, I'm generating $24,000 a year, and I know I could be doing better. And you're like, yeah, you could, because I have a similar product and I'm doing 75. So you're tripling his business, the volume anyways. And, so see what Mike could do for you. Check it out, guys. Last thing I got to tell you, Cornell grad, right?
I was a baseball player, so they do some special things for athletes to admit them and graduate them and things like that.
Spend some time for the Big Red. So listen, we got a couple of listeners from upstate New York. Mostly my family. I think probably my mom's like the only one watching from Ithaca, New York, right? But we had that connection, and I always tell anyone that I meet that I'm friends with, if we bring up Cornell University or whatever, because I grew up on the campus there of Cornell. You went to school there for a little while in Ithaca, New York, and I always say that there's the two most famous people to ever go to Cornell. Number one, Joe Nieuwendyk. Right, 2 or 3 Stanley Cups, right? One of the best hockey players ever, right? To play the game, best captain, best to wear the C. Number 2, most famous person to ever attend, Michael Hamilton.
There we go,
Michael Hamilton, right? And hey guys, pick up the book. I'm telling you, Mike, you get this on Amazon, right? It's all over the place.
Yeah, you find that anywhere books are sold. There's electronic, there's physical copy. I happen to like physical copy books.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. But yeah. Anyway.
Quite a real thing. Who does the Kindle thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Here it is, guys. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for your time. And tell Maria thank you too if she's listening. Is she back there? Is she right there?
Hold on. I think we might be able to find
out.
No, that's got to go that way.
Hey, there she is.
Hi, Noah.
I know you're the magic that makes it happen.
That's it. Got her.
It's fun listening to you guys. Good conversation.
Oh yeah, a high level, down to earth, right?
That's right.
Rings on the front grill, raised a couple mil so I can make a deal. Now I'm feeling too trill, like it isn't real. Whether you in it for the love or the thrill, live life